Welcome to CEOs You Should Know. We're here with Rob Smith. Rob is CEO and founder of Phluid Project. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you. Good. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you here today. So, very excited to sit down, learn more about yourself, and learn more about Phluid Project. Can you start by maybe sharing a little bit about your background? I just learned you're a Michigan State grad, but maybe a little bit about your background that's inspired you to create the brand, the Phluid Project.
Yeah. So the origin is pretty interesting. So I'll start off first that I
Yeah.
started off as a fashion guy in retail. So I spent about 22 years at Macy's. Then I went to Victoria's Secret. Then I went working with Levi's and Nike.
Yeah.
And it's been a great career in fashion. And the idea of Phluid is merging my profession, which is fashion and retail, and my passion, which is social justice,
Mhm.
especially around LGBTQ plus issues, but not exclusively just about social justice
Yeah.
and equality. And the way it happened is a pretty interesting story. So I went to my first Burning Man, and I'm not sure
Burning Man is
Burning.
what's that's out
It's a big
festival.
festival is like that's the closest word I can find in the desert where 75,000 people come together.
Wow.
And these like there's like rules of radical inclusion, acceptance,
Right.
self-reliance. And my first Burning Man, I went there and we had an RV and a bunch of guys, and there were a couple other guys like adjacent to us, and I'd say they were straight guys. And they packed totally wrong, and they came into our RV. They're like, "Can we borrow your tights? Can we wear a tutu? Can you paint our nails? Can you put like eye makeup on?" And
Yeah.
just like this like liberation. And I was like, "Wow, this is so incredible to watch people liberate
Yeah.
in this social construct that's created." Then they have to go back to their jobs and their life, or where men have to be a certain way or women are a certain way. So I just knew something was in that. I didn't know what it was, but I decided to quit my job. There's a saying, "Don't quit your job after your first Burning Man." And I didn't know that saying. So I quit my job after my first Burning Man, and I threw in a backpack and I started traveling around the world by myself and kept buying one-way tickets. And I went and did an ayahuasca ceremonies for a month in Peru in the Amazon.
Wow.
And when I went in with my intention, I said, "What am I going to do with my life?" In the morning, I wrote down, "Consider opening a gender-free, non-binary shopping environment." I wrote "Fluid" in quotation marks.
Wow.
And I opened this world's first gender-free store 10 months later.
Wow. And how many years ago was that
It
now?
was 2018 that happened.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been back to Burning Man?
Oh, yeah.
Every
Quite a
year?
bit. Yeah, every year. Every
Awesome.
year. I'm going this year again. It's such a wonderful place to. I call it like like a pilgrimage,
Yeah.
because it's a place where you can go and nobody asks you what you do. Nobody cares about your
Right.
profession. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO of a
Whatever.
major company or somebody who's an artist. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to disconnect from the world. There's no Wi-Fi,
Yep.
which is great, and just to be on a bike and be with your buddies and meet new people.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
fun. Dance, see
Yeah.
art. It's fantastic.
Sounds like a lot of your experience, especially with a lot of the Fortune 500 brands you said you work for, gave you the fashion side of what's created you and the person that you are. I'm more interested in maybe digging a little deeper on the humanitarian philanthropist, and I hear that you're a yogi as well, and how that may have impacted you with the work that you're doing today.
Yeah, all of it adds up. So my discipline and structure comes from corporate America.
Yep.
So learning how to be structured and have a lot of entrepreneurs, maybe if they start off as entrepreneurs, don't have that experience. So I have a deep like corporate experience. It also allows me to work with my partners closely and understand whether it's selling product or advising with big companies like Target or
Yep.
Walmart or Kohl's or Macy's or Nordstrom, that I know who they are because I was them,
Right.
and I understand them, understand what they want and need. And then you start to infuse the human part of it, which is where Phluid becomes different than those companies,
Right.
because we're deeply embedded in our mission statement is we challenge boundaries with humanity. We say just because something's been one way doesn't mean there's not a better way.
Right.
And we have values are our pillars. And so there's this, not just fashion, but also education and activism and community that are the pillars for the brand.
Yep. And we talked a little bit about the brand being completely gender-free fashion, and how you strive to break down societal barriers and promote self-expression without limitations. I think that's important to you. Can you recall a specific moment maybe that solidified the potential for your brand to create significant change in the community and for individuals that use the brand?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's small ways and there are big ways.
Yeah.
I remember the store when the store was open. So it was open. That's how it started with the store. But I would spend 5-6 days a week in the store and meeting customers. And I just remember one parent came in, and there was always affirming experiences. But I remember this one woman came in, and she had a non-binary child who didn't fit into, the norms of male female. They were a bit more fluid, and so shopping has always been a challenge. So to have this space, degendered, that you can buy whatever you want to buy, try on what you want to try on, no judgment. And she goes, every time I come in here, I'm so happy because my child's so comfortable, and I just want to cry. And she said, I just want to cry. And I said, it means a lot to me. I'm the founder. And she fell into my arms. I get a little emotional.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She started crying. She said, thank you so much for what you're doing. And those little things remind me about what I do and why I do it.
Yeah, that is incredible. I'm getting the chills just hearing that story.
Yeah.
Because as a founder, as a creator of a brand, that's really what's worth it at the end of the day.
That's right.
Especially with the journey that you've described, you seem like the type of person where that would fill you with joy to want to keep going.
Sure.
Better.
Sure. Yeah. And another thing is, the Phluid is the fashion part of it. Then there's the education and strategic advising part of it. Then there's the philanthropy. So we've raised over $1 million with corporate partners, pushing it back into community. And I just went into one of our recipients. I was in Detroit a few days ago and toured the Ruth Ellis Center and just touring and seeing where the money's going. And getting back. And, so it's one thing to sit behind your desk and talk about it, but it's another thing to actually go into the places where they're serving and seeing where the money's going and how it's impacting community. So it's there's so many ways to remind yourself about the work you're doing and why you're doing it.
Right. We're here with our friend Rob Smith, CEO and founder for Phluid Project, and this is CEOs You Should Know with iHeartMedia. Rob, let's dig a little bit deeper there because that's really interesting. You had mentioned seeing one of the partners on the philanthropic side that you've helped. Are there other shout outs that you want to give to other partners that you work with, other charities, other missions, nonprofits? And what do you feel like the Phluid Project has helped to raise the bar with these institutions or organizations?
Really interesting question. I can break it down a few different ways.
Yeah.
I would say that from the things that I'm most proud of is strategic advising with companies, helping them navigate, how to be authentic and intentional with the LGBTQ community, both with your employees and your customers, and how, we've gone from rainbow washing, which is people just wanting, queer money, to companies afraid to support the queer community because they're afraid of illegal or conservative backlash.
Right.
And so how we help them navigate these waters. So that's truly rewarding, helping leaders at big companies do the right thing and manage these, interesting times that we're in. And then from the foundation, I just love writing checks and sending them away and just you get 2,500, you get 5,000, you get 10,000, and just giving away money like that. And then going and seeing the folks actually and meeting them and hearing about what they did with the money. And there's no a lot of companies do grants. Tell us, how'd you spend the money?
Right.
When you're dealing specifically with Black and brown communities, when you're dealing with queer communities, we're dealing with these people that there's not a lot of trust, unfortunately we're in a system where if you're a white man and you present, something, people will trust you, at least, but to trust and to give money, say, I just trust you, do whatever you want to do with the money. That alone is rewarding. And then what they do with the money and how they spend it, just the work they do is so impressive to me.
So authentic. That's great. I really wanted you to describe how your leadership and how you've been developed as a leader yourself has helped other brands and other organizations change with societal norms, administrative changes within the country, and it just sounds awesome that you're doing that. It's almost like fulfilling the dream that you started with originally.
It is. So it's funny that I was reminded by my dad reminded me that when I went to college, I wanted to be a social worker, and he wouldn't pay for that for college. And so he said, you get a business degree, that's all I'll pay for. And so I was like, okay. And I know his intentions were good, but I ended up, I think, becoming in a way like what I wanted to become, which is doing the work, which is serving community, but doing it
And
through a different way.
with
Yeah.
a different lens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And being business minded again
That's
as a
right.
leader, helping other leadership out there in organizations with your knowledge and your experience. This is all great. So let's talk about like moving forward. What do you envision Fluid Project doing to potentially scale the mission globally, or to do something extraordinary in 2025, or maybe you have plans for the next couple of years? Like, what's next?
Yeah, what's next? So we're always looking for new spaces to enter. We do a pretty good job of pride for lots of different companies, but really where I see the growth is in the fashion space. So a denim collection, we've got a fashion apparel collection, accessory collection. So going beyond this like rainbow stuff and getting into actually products that 70% of Gen Zers shop across gender lines. They go to thrift stores and it's easy to navigate.
Yep.
But department stores or specialty stores are very binary, male, female.
Yep.
So what I would like to do is to create a space in between the men's and the women's department, and just figure out a way to work with merchants and to find a space to put this product that's created for both male and female bodies.
Right.
Because that's where young people are.
Right.
That's my ultimate goal. And then we keep expanding into different spaces. We do really interesting collaborations. We did one with Spencer's and start with a focus group.
Yeah.
So listen, we've got an acronym called RISE, how we create product. It's responsibly. We know where and how it's made. Inclusive in sizing, inclusive in pricing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm willing to do Target and Nordstrom. So figure out ways to do both. That with the Phluid label and PH by the Phluid Project. And then S is solutions. We listen to our customers and we say, how can we make products better for you? What's missing?
Right.
And then where E is expressive. We're expressive. We're not like, a lot of times people think of gender neutral as like gray or black or shapeless. That's not us.
Yeah.
We're very expressive. And so one of the things, a good example is we did a focus group with Spencer's.
Yeah.
And we talked about, intimacy and wellness. We found a huge white space and we started doing undergarments, and it's doing incredibly well.
Great.
And then we're looking at, I don't know if I can say this, but like men who have sex with men, like what are they missing in their whole, like, because they do a big sex toy business and finding things that, service underrepresented communities. So we do something like that. And then what else? So we're looking into like a pet collection, a home collection. The home collection, a lot of our focus is on mental health and wellness.
Yep.
And 9 out of 10 college kids have depression. And so we're creating these rooms and entire setups that create a sense of affirmation and comfort. When you walk in, it's like breathe, exhale, and really working to try to create a space when they come home that they can it's not like, sports teams or I don't know, or like, it's really about your wellness, your mental
wellness,
health. Yeah.
You mentioned expressive, and companies have to pivot all the time when it comes to making decisions as it regards to the community, or in particular with your vertical, fashion, education week, etc. What guides your decisions to strategically pivot these days? How can you be nimble, and how can you lead from the front with your organization?
Super nimble. I mean, I think about the journey where I was, and my goal was, and my deck was, with the world's first gender-free store, to open up 30 stores around the world. That deck has been filed in a trash bin. So, we closed the store, shifted to online store, shifted then to wholesale, and then found that there was an opportunity for advising and education, opened up the foundation. And so it's constantly a pivot. We're pivoting. And when you start off with something that's never been done before, there's really not a roadmap on where to go.
Right. You're creating as you go.
I'm creating as I go. Yeah. And so having this experience, working up in corporate America for so long, it gave me this sense of, wait, I can take this, and I know this person, and it's really helped the brand grow and pivot from where we are. We continue to pivot all the time.
Yep. That's great.
Pivot as, society changes, but really we're focused on young people and listening to young people and addressing their needs. And any retailer that wants to grow with young people should consider talking to Phluid in some way.
That's great. That is awesome. Again, just want to let everyone know, CEOs, you should know, powered by iHeartMedia. We're here with Rob Smith, our CEO and founder from Phluid Project. What keeps you up at night, Rob, as a CEO with an organization that's doing so much to benefit the community and individuals that you serve, and that come to you, what keeps you up at night?
I'd say my husband snoring keeps me up at night.
That's the
it's really loud. Between him and the dog, there's a lot of snoring going on. I would say what keeps me up at night is people's fear to try new things in a difficult economy. When the economy's good and it's booming, people have dollars to try different things,
Yep.
new things. When the economy tightens, new ideas get thrown out because there's no room for it. And so what keeps me up at night is the openness to try new things.
Yep.
With a shrinking economy.
Shrinking economy.
Yeah.
Yep. I got you. In closing, Rob, I was thinking if there's one thing that you want people to take away from what Phluid Project's doing today with your existing mission statement, what would it be?
What would it be? I think it's unusual to find a purpose-driven brand the way Phluid is purpose-driven, the way that we're committed to improving people's lives,
Yep.
to shine a light on people who have often been ignored or marginalized, to, and this everything we stand for, which is, fashion and community and education, and to find a brand like that and to say, how can I support a brand like that? And to find other brands like Phluid as well, because there are other brands as well.
Of course,
but
yeah.
to do the research and to really see where your dollars are going. And I think young people for sure are getting more and more aware of where their dollars are spending, and to spend it on a purpose-driven company, somebody that puts money back into the community.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I want everyone to know, everyone that's going to tune in and everyone that's going to see this in your community on the iHeart networks, to learn more about you. So give us clear direction, and what website or socials could we check you out on?
Yeah, I mean, we're very Instagrammy brand, so it's at the Phluid Project, and Phluid spelled with a PH.
Yep.
So the PH represents balance.
Yep.
So it's the Phluid Project. You can just
When
type
you
in.
wrote it down in the
I spelled it
notebook.
wrong. Then I spelled it with an F. I eventually became a P.
That's great though.
Yeah.
Balance and pH.
Yeah,
and
it just stands out. So all you have to do is type in Phluid,
Yep.
PHLUID, and everything pops up.
on Instagram.
Yeah, it's on its own. So on Instagram, on TikTok,
Yep.
it's Phluid Project on TikTok, and the
What about
websites.
the global worlds or the worldwide?
Yeah, we
store?
ship around the world.
Yep.
We ship all over the world. So if you just type in PHLUID
Yep.
and then a Google search or a Safari search, you're going to find Phluid show up the website, and
Yep.
all the links are there. Everything's there.
Perfect.
And then
What-
people
what-
can reach out to me also if they want to on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Directly. I get a lot of people reaching out through LinkedIn. There's info@thefluidproject.com, or just reach out to find Rob Smith Phluid on LinkedIn and reach out to me and send me a note. I answer every
awesome.
message.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Rob, listen, I really enjoyed getting to talk to you today, and hopefully we'll have you back soon on CEO As You Should Know.
That'd be great. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Rob.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.